Namaste. In a significant development, Israel set to open a military base in Somaliland, which is the breakaway region of Somalia. In return, Israel will recognize Somaliland as a separate nation. It will be the second country in the world to do so after Ethiopia. This region is very significant. It's located on a very strategic location, and Israel can use the military base to monitor activities of Yemeni Houthis. It also add the growing military bases around the Red Sea region. Already there are many military bases on the region, and this can have a potential for a peaceful maritime trade through this Red Sea corridor, or it can have potential for more flashpoints. What does it mean for India, and will it benefit us or not? And let's talk about Somaliland in this video. Let's go. So in this video, we'll discuss four aspects. Number one, we'll discuss what is Somaliland, where is it located, and why is it important. Second, we'll talk about the Somaliland's current status of as an independent nation or as a breakaway region, and what does it mean for other countries to recognize this nation. Third, we'll talk about the failure of US Navy to control Yemeni Houthis' attack on the commercial ships, and why Israel is forced to take this measure. And fourth and final, what does it mean for India, and what are the implications for India and this entire this growing militarization of Red Sea. So first, we'll talk about the Somaliland. As you can see in the map, it is located on the northern western part of Somalia, and it has declared independence from Somalia, the state of Somalia, in 1991. And since then, it is governing independently, separately and independently. It hasn't not been recognized by any government so far. So far, in official or international institutions, it's still considered part of Somalia. Although it is running successfully and is very peaceful compared to the neighboring country Somalia, but still it hasn't been recognized. No recognition given to this, and this region is very strategic because it sits on a 750-kilometer coastline, and it's oversee the southern passage to Suez Canal, and the strait which that eventually goes to Suez Canal. The Red Sea is the passages, and it's also south of the Houthis control Yemen. If I'm not wrong, Houthis control Yemen, and so Somaliland is a very strategic and very important, and it gives a lot of strategic importance because one third of the maritime trade goes through Red Sea, Suez Canal, and onwards to the other nations, like to and fro. So this locations is very strategic, and it makes sense to have certain activities to monitor the shipping traffic. Now comes the second point. Of recognition of Somaliland. Now, many countries have certain kind of partnership with Somalia. With the United Arab Emirates have a port; they're operating a port, and I think U.S. government too have certain programs to do this. But so far, no country has recognized Somaliland as a separate nation. So Ethiopia, I think early this year, signed a deal with Somaliland to to get access to Red Sea. Remember, the Ethiopia is a landlocked nation, so Ethiopia will get access to Red Sea. In return, Ethiopia will recognize Somaliland as a separate nation. Now, that has not gone well with many countries of the region, especially Somalia, which has accused Ethiopia for encroaching the sovereignty of Somalia nation by giving independence to Somaliland or a separate nation. So things have not been moved so far, but Turkey has been mediating between those two countries, Ethiopia and Somalia, to find a reasonable or peaceful resolutions on how to move forward. So this was the first thing, and Israel will be the second country to do so if it goes, because so far it's just a news article in 2 or 3 places. If it does so, and considering the location of the Somaliland, it's very strategic. So this can happen, and in the past there has been growing voices in India also. I think in few years ago that we should recognize Somaliland as a separate nation. Also, build a military base over there to counter the growing threats or the influence of other nations who have naval bases in neighboring Djibouti. Djibouti is not far from Somaliland or Eritrea. So that was a demand. Well, government of India has not acted on those demand. So nothing can be said here on the menu. But this can happen. This can happen. The Somaliland may get more recognition from other countries who are concerned about the attacks from Houthis on the commercial shipping to establish naval bases. So this may happen. The third reason is why Israel is building a naval base or a military base on very far, not very far, but far from its geographical location. So, as you know, I made a video a couple of weeks ago about how Houthis are dominating the shipping lanes of Red Sea, or the passage of southern passage of Suez Canal. They are attacking any commercial ships they think is going to Israel, or it's going to help Israel in the current conflict in Gaza or in Lebanon. So they have been targeting commercial ships. They feel, and they are kind of have a de facto control of those shipping lands, and US Navy actually failed to do anything. So they have a launch, they have ships in the regions, but as a lot of reports pointed out, that they couldn't do anything much. That Houthis somehow able to wage a different kind of warfare, drone warfare, which is very costly for US Navy to counter, and the Houthis have since have a lot of control of it. And this has resulted in the port of Eilat, which is located in the Red Sea in southern Israel, being bankrupt or being defaulting. So no ships can go if Houthis are targeting, and obviously naval ships are different than commercial ships. Naval ships can counter the drones or the threats or missile, but commercial shipping ships cannot counter, and they have civilians. So a lot of ships stopped going to the port of Eilat, and due to safety reasons. So the port of Eilat was suffering because of lack of activities, and it is filed for bankruptcy. And this is a grave concern for Israel. Now, if they have a military base or a naval base or a monitoring stations monitoring the activities of Houthis from nearby shores of the Somaliland, then they can effectively see what the Houthis are doing, which ships they're targeting, and that can help Iran to it can help Israel to counter a strategy, to define a counter strategy. At the same time, as analysts are saying, that it can also help Israel to monitor the activities of Iran. Remember, Iran is a supplier of weapons and many technologies, or it is believed that Iranian generals are training the Houthis. So Israel can actually monitor or observe the Iranian activities in this region. That's a speculated. That's a lot of analysts are saying that this can happen. So this can happen, and there is a fear, or not fear, I should say, the speculations that this will only going to add the growing militarization of the Red Sea. As you can see in this figure, there are many military bases in Djibouti, including China, USA, France, Japan, and and Turkey has recently signed agreement to help Somalia in training the Somalian forces in countering the terrorism and piracy operations. So Turkey has also a presence, and Russia and Iran are discussing building a naval base or a naval or kind of base in Sudan, which is also located on Red Sea, and Egypt, of course, a naval power, and there is a Saudi Arabia, which is a US military presence, and of course Israel has a certain section of Red Sea, and of course there's a Houthis are there, which Iran has a stake over there. So there's a lot of military activities happening in this very narrow strait, because it's very crucial. One third of global maritime trade passes through this strait. One third, and there is no shortcut. There's no shortcut because um, if you can see the report, if you read the report, that the companies which thought it's unsafe to go through Suez Canal because of Houthis targeting the commercial ship, they were taking the longer route through Horn of Africa. They are ditching the Suez Canal route, and they're going through the Horn of Africa, and it is adding the cost, it is in the time, and obviously it's adding the bottom line of the companies, and it's increasing the price for the customers and the customers. So it's possible that the more military bases will come in this regions to check, to these in check, or to see how this route becomes safe. Now, this can make this region or this shipping lane safer, or this can have a major flashpoint. Remember, there are so many naval bases or military bases very close to each other, not far from each other, and they are not really allies of each other. They're not really friendly to each other. So there is always a possibility of flashpoints. So they will see what can happen in these regions, and but this has a very significant development, which can have more countries setting up their naval bases and in this region. The fourth point is, what are the implications for India in this region? Now, as such, India doesn't have any military base in this region, and other navies have this region. And for us, it's very important that this route remains safe and accessible. And the biggest concern for India was the crew. Many of the crews which are operating the ships, even if they are not Indian-owned ships or other Indian-owned ships, the Indian crews were operating those ships, and Indian Navy had to rescue many times those ships when they're targeted by Houthis. So as such, Houthis have not been targeting Indian ships, as far as I know. They're not targeting the Indian ships directly, but the cruise is Indian, and it's a cause of concern because some of the ships which are going from India to Israel or going from India to other Western countries, which Houthis are accusing of supporting Israel, or those ships coming from Western countries bringing the necessary material supplies to India. Again, they are Western owned ships. They are again targeted by Houthis because Houthis believe the Western countries are supporting Israel. So this have implications for India, even though we are not directly involved in any of these. The ships which are going from India to West, which are coming to India from West, can be targeted. And again, the many of the ships owned by other countries are run by the crews from India. So this have a lot of things. For us, India, it's always beneficial the peace will prevail because it's a major shipping route, major trade routes, and if Indian shipments have to go through Horn of Africa, if they have to go through Horn of Africa, like many Western shipping companies are doing, it's only going to add the cost and time, and of course, it's not beneficial for any business or any economy to have extra cost incurred because of these delays. So so for us, it's important if these naval bases of Israel, Iran, Russia, America, France, Japan, China add peace or security and safety of the commercial shipping, then it's good for us. But if it's going to add certain more problems for security and safety, then of course it's a problem for us again. And again, the idea of India building a naval base in Somaliland in recognition of the country can also be taken up if such things happen, and it becomes difficult to navigate. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. If you like this commentary, you can share it with others, and to watch more videos about geopolitical commentary from Indian's perspective in English, and also getting to know about Indian business in Spanish and Russian, you can subscribe to my channel. Namaste Ankit, link given below. Till the next video, namaste.